Tonight, President Tinubu preaches love, tolerance, sacrifice at Eid al-Kabir. Workshop on revised national gender policy kicks off in Uyo. Police nab man who sold son for 400,000 naira in Akwa Ibom. And Inspector General of Police orders convoys to obey traffic lights, other regulations. Details of these and other stories in just a moment. Good evening and welcome to AKBC 45 News. I am Miriam Ikbutu. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has underscored the need for Nigerians to face the future with vigor, renewed hope, and confidence that tomorrow will be better and brighter amid present challenges. In a solemn message today, the president said the present challenges, especially with the struggling economy and simmering security challenges, were not insurmountable. President Tinubu, who wished all a happy Salah celebration, stressed the need to multiple good deeds with kindness, to follow Muslims and others by helping and supporting the weak and vulnerable in their society. He also stressed the need for Muslims to imbibe and manifest core values such as complete devotion to Allah, tolerance, patience, perseverance, selflessness, love, and compassion inherent in the exemplary life of the Prophet Ibrahim. $100 million naira educational fund has been instituted by the Akwa Ibom state government for students with disabilities in public tertiary institutions. Governor Moino, who announced the endowment when he met with a cross-section of students with disability at Government House Uyo, also appointed 2 of the students as his personal assistants. A Government House reporter, Odwakekom, has more.
Announcing the intervention, Governor Moino said that he was moved by the passion to give the student's body a sense of belonging to underscore the political inclusion drive of his administration. He mandated the Office of the Accountant General, the Secretary to State Government, Ministry of Education, as well as the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Welfare to supervise the disbursement of the funds by ensuring that school fees are paid directly to the schools of the beneficiaries and allowances given to the students after due profiling.
We will run an inclusive government, and that inclusivity is just inclusivity. We want to include everyone, men, women, physically challenged, party lines, everything. We bring people together and talk with them. If the physically challenged ones amongst us want to go to school, the least we can do is to support them. So at many times I attend your events, I find it's always a point I feel that we should do. So today, we have come here to celebrate you, to let you know that the government is a caring government. We'll always include you in what we do.
The governor announced a cash donation to one of the physically challenged students, Mr. Demi Emmanuel, in addition to a monthly stipend to aid his participation in the law school, and assured him of automatic employment in the Ministry of Justice on completion of the program.
We want to make sure that he is comfortable. So I have approved 5 million naira to make sure that he pays all his dues, he gets his accommodation, everything provided for. And On a monthly basis, we'll send support to him, 250,000 every month. Is that okay for you, sir? Okay. By the grace of God, I look forward to attending your call to bar. When you finish, you already have employment waiting for you.
I remember the last day we wrote our exams. Those who had the means seriously mocked me that the promise I was celebrating on Facebook was just an excesses from Akwa Ibom politicians, but I would gladly go back to them to show them that it wasn't really an excesses, but it was a promise that is not only kept but fulfilled.
Two of the students, Emmanuel Wisdom and Ubong Imoikbe, were appointed personal assistants on student matters and personal assistant on students with disability, respectively.
Just tidy up. Whether you go to medical school, wherever you are, you can do your work from there. So, and then Ubong Imoekbe will be my PA on students with disabilities. So you work and ensure so that you can brief me from time to time what it is. We want to make sure that we have a way of catering for everyone.
We don't take this for granted. We really appreciate this. And this beats our commitment and our loyalty, and we'll continue to pray for your administration.
This shows that you really have love and passion for this set of students.
Udwakeko, AKBC News.
Akwa Ibom State First Lady, Pastor Patience Omoino, has called on civil society organizations, healthcare providers, and other relevant stakeholders to strengthen collaboration in the fight against drug abuse and illicit trafficking in the state. The governor's wife met the call during the commemoration of the 2023 United Nations International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. The celebration has the theme, People First, Stop Stigma and Discrimination, Strengthen Prevention. Margaret Bassi reports that the event was organized by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Akwa Ibom State Command, in collaboration with State Drug Control Committee. The report.
Pastor Patience Eno, who performed her first official function as the chairperson, Akwa Ibom State Drug Control Committee, acknowledged the importance of the day, which serves as a reminder on the devastating impact of drug abuse and illicit trafficking on individuals, families, and society, calling on all to create awareness and work towards effective solution to addressing the stigma and discrimination. She lauded the immediate past First Lady for laying a foundation to eradicate the scourge in the state, as well as NDLEA for being at the forefront. She solicited for community outreach and targeted campaigns to address the root cause of the crime.
As we all know, drug abuse is a crime, not just against humanity, but against God. Hence, the need for all hands to be on deck to rid our society of the effects of drug abuse. Prevention, they say, is better than cure. Remember that our country needs our youth as a future and harbinger of progress.
The State Commandant of National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Mrs. Obot Bassi, said the event was targeted at sensitizing youths on the need for a drug-free society. Mrs. Bassi stated that from July 2022 to May 2023, the Akwa Ibom State Command of NDLEA has arrested a total of 239 suspects, convicted 59 drug offenders, counseled 160 drug addicts, as well as treated and rehabilitated 15 of the culprits.
It is a day set aside to strengthen action at sensitizing the general populace, especially the youth, on the dangers of abuse and trafficking of illicit substances. Enable them to take the right decision against substance abuse.
Goodwill few messages were presented by Mrs. Inemeset Enobonwa, Mrs. Margaret Udemotong, and representatives of different uniform organizations who all expressed their determination to strengthen action in cooperation to achieve the goal.
We are going to spread the news that we are going to hear today across our state. I promise that we will go and teach our people in the rural area.
Drug is the enabler of most crime.
As we admonish our children in our different prayer altars, let's tell them the dangers of drugs.
And also promise that we also assist in any way we are needed.
The matter of drug is not a joking matter. If not taken seriously, we will soon not have any generation to take over from us.
The event drew stakeholders and students from select secondary schools across the state and featured plenary session, drama, and presentation of prizes to winners of NDLEA 2023 essay competition, as well as gifts to the wife of the governor. Margaret Bassi, AKBC News.
Meanwhile, the State Deputy Governor, Senator Yarinyi, has called for a more humane approach in the fight against drug abuse and illicit trafficking among the younger generation. Senator Yarinyi made the call at the 2023 United Nations International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking in Uyo. A Government House reporter, Utri Mokon, has more.
Senator Yarinyi, who made the remarks, enumerated the enormous problems constituted by drug abuse and illicit trafficking, noting that its harm has destroyed the mental and physical health of people, therefore increasing criminal activities in communities. She pointed out that drug abuse was undoubtedly one of the biggest challenges that face the modern world, and its widespread impact, the offenders, their families, and the society are affected directly and indirectly. The senator commended the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime, UNODC, and its Nigerian affiliate, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, for initiating a change of approach in the fight against the menace.
We must collectively step up efforts in the area of sensitization. Sometimes ignorance is the greatest sponsor of crime. Once there is a knowledge gap, wrongdoing increases. The campaign against drug abuse and illicit drug trafficking should be taken to our secondary schools, tertiary institutions of learning, churches, and markets. Since health is a major item in the ARISE agenda, the administration of Pastor Umar Eno will support efforts aimed at safeguarding the mental and physical health of Akwa Ibom people. Be rest assured that you have a partner in this administration in this fight to rescue the minds of our youth.
The event featured presentation of a souvenir to the State Deputy Governor by the State Commander of NDLEA, Mrs. Obot Bwasi. Otumi Maokun, AKBC News.
The abuse of psychoactive drugs has become a public health issue and an issue of national concern. Such concerns have focused not only on the economic, psychological, and behavioral impact of substance abuse, but also its hazards on social and moral values, as well as threats to the progress of society. In the following report, Etienne Oiba examines the dangers of drug abuse and possible ways of curbing it.
Global, national, state and local efforts have been taken to curtail substance use and abuse, which experts say constitute a critical public health problem. According to the World Drug Report 2021 of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, estimated 284 million people between 15 and 64 years had used drugs in the previous years worldwide, while 11.2 million people inject drugs globally. The burden of drug abuse has also been related to organized crime, illicit financial flows, corruption, terrorism and insurgency. Why do people abuse drugs, and which drugs are mostly abused, especially in Nigerian society? Mrs. Obotbasi, the Akwa Ibom State Commander of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, speaks.
In Akwa Ibom State, what is mostly abused is cannabis, cocaine, heroin, tramadol, diazepam, codeine, cough syrup, and a host of other drugs.
According to experts, drug abuse is increasing at an alarming rate, causing serious threat to every nation.
It ranges from stagnation, damaged individuals, damaged relationships, health problems, financial distress, depression and anxiety, crimes, and even death.
Most of these things got introduced to us by people who have gone outside the country, transported one thing or the other, and people start. In our days, we only read in books about cocaine, and Indian hemp was slightly closer, let me say so.
On what leads people into drug abuse, many addicts who spoke off camera said that drug abuse starts like a game, a fad arising from peer group influence, and that it helps them overlook harsh realities and depression. In a bid to stem the tide of drugs abuse in Nigeria, several laws and policies were established by government under our agencies such as the National Drug Laws Enforcement Agency, National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control, Pharmacists Council of Nigeria, and a Presidential Advisory Committee. What are the achievements recorded by the NDLEA, especially in Akwa Ibom State, in the fight against drug abuse?
The NDLEA Akwa Ibom State Command has been committed to saving humanity through its mandate of eliminating illicit drugs from the homes and the streets of Akwa Ibom State through the arrests, seizures of illicit drugs, prosecution of drug dealers, preventive mechanisms of campaign and awareness creation on the consequences of illicit drug abuse. The command is earnestly involved in the rehabilitation of persons who use drugs within the state.
Some respondents suggested other measures to help in reducing drug abuse in the society.
If one could make job opportunities engaging for the youths, I think this would be one of the reasons that will also reduce drug abuse.
People should abstain themselves from drugs. Like if they can't do it themselves, they can seek counseling from others. Ask people.
The church, that is where our morals are built. The church or the mosque or even traditional worshippers have a code, a moral code. If the society will get back to that traditional way of living, where a child does something, the whole village is against it, and it will be disciplined from the house.
For me, I think that the society and also the government should look for a way to rehabilitate drug abuse, that it shouldn't come to an existence through the help of enforcing of drug abuse task force.
As the United Nations International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking is celebrated June 26, 2023, on the theme, People First, Stop Stigma and Discrimination, Strengthen Prevention. There is need for all to team up and fight against drug abuse in the society. Etienne Ibanga, AKBC News.
A two-day sensitization workshop on the revised 2021 to 2026 National Gender Policy in the South geopolitical zone has commenced in Uyo. The workshop, organized by the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Abuja, in collaboration with the African Development Bank and the Akwa Ibom State Government, centered on ensuring gender equality. Eyageno Paul reports.
Declared open the two-day workshop attended by delegates from Rivers, Delta, Bayelsa, Cross River, Edo, and Akwa Ibom State, the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Mrs. Monilola Olaudo, said it is aimed at brainstorming on gender parity. Mrs. Udo said in the year 2000, the federal government came up with rights of women. In 2006, gender policy, and last year, the revised gender policy to promote a system where everyone has equal rights irrespective of gender. The Federal Permanent Secretary, however, lamented that despite all the sensitization in gender equality, few women have been voted for in the National Assembly, with men taking over 90% dominance there, calling on political parties, stakeholders, and all concerned to give more women opportunity to participate in governance.
But as we all know, many women and girls still face discrimination on the basis of sex and gender. This gave rise to the review of the 2006 National Gender Policy. The overall goal of the 2021 National Gender Policy is to build a just society in which women, girls, and other vulnerable groups will enjoy the same opportunities, rights.
The Permanent Secretary of Akwa Ibom State Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Welfare, Mrs. Margaret Adam, represented at the event by Barrister Nkechi Udo, said gender cuts across every sector, the need to uphold its principles and carry everyone along. Mrs. Adam called on everyone to work towards the realization of gender equality in the country.
Gender looks at everything, looks at equality, looks at equity. Because sometimes when you're talking about equity, equality, providing everything, there are some barriers. And for women are saying, remove the barriers. And
in a lecture titled Policy and Objectives, Priority and Institutional, Professor Muhammad Laden, a professor of law, dwells on the difference between women's rights and gender policy and harped on the need for men to give women 50% rights in all sectors.
We realized that there were actually new strategies and new approaches to this silent pandemic affecting women and the girl child. And it was very important, for the policy of 2008, which in itself has expired.
Also speaking were representatives of security agencies, religious leaders, royal fathers, and stakeholders.
I want to thank the organizer of this program.
And as a Christian leaders, we will read the Holy Scriptures, and I will continue to do our best to ensure that there is equity for both men and women even in the body of Christ.
This issue of you are a woman, we shouldn't jump this. You should not play ball. There is no gender there.
There is need for gender mainstreaming. The current gender policy provides for 50% affirmative action, meaning that at least 50% of those elected and appointed into governance should be women.
And I encourage everyone that has come here to take this matter seriously.
It is a thing that every one of us will appreciate, because civilization as flexible as the world gets civilized.
Eyageno Paul, AKBC News.
We'll take a short break now. When we come back, more news. Do stay with us.
I need the police that can respond to emergencies first.
I want the equipment I need to do my job.
I want a police that won't harass or arrest me for no just reason.
I want to be valued for my work.
not feared by honest people.
I want a police that won't ask me anything for the boys.
I want a decent salary that is paid on time.
If it happen, with good laws,
Proper funding, training,
and cooperation.
if it happen,
if it happens.
If it happens.
So good to have you back. A former commissioner for agriculture in the state, Dr. Gloredid, has donated a chapel to the Presbyterian Church of Nigeria, Ikorobom, Ibionibom local government area, christened Mary Mitchell Slazer Chapel. The edifice is sited where the Christian